Okay, good afternoon. We have a special guest today at Talklane Asia here, and this is Tom Dickson from Blendtec, USA, and I've come to know him recently and to find out very interesting things that he has lots of stories about, and one of them is about the theme that Talklane covers, which is about change, innovation. So Tom, tell us about your story about how you got involved in innovation and what are the changes that you have been leading, as I understand, and tell us your story.
Yes, well, my goal since I got a wedding present in 1968 was a blender, and it was horrible, and it was it didn't last for more than a year, and I thought someday I'm going to build a blender that will last forever. They can have a long warranty, and actually we do build blenders now that have an 8-year warranty. That's our shortest warranty.
8 years?
8 years and 10-year warranty. No blender in the world can hold up like our blender will.
Right.
And so, but I'm always trying to destroy things, and so I'm always trying to break the blender. And so what happened is that led to a very unique opportunity for us, but we continue to make a better and better blender, and we really have to have American-made parts and ingenuity to be able to create the best blender in the world.
Okay, so how did you do it, and what happened?
Well, we started with American parts as much as we possibly could. We made some things in Asia, and we found that we couldn't get consistency, reliability on certain parts that we made in other parts of the world. And so we make more and more things ourselves. So we're almost 100% made now in the USA. And we've been able to do that with innovation, with automation, with lean manufacturing.
Now you hit the key word there. Shingo Institute.
Yes.
Is the one that's an initiative going around the world now.
Yes.
Right, and helping people to have continuous improvement.
Right.
And I just learned that your company is in there, one of the top 3 companies in the state of Utah.
That's correct.
That's involved with the Shingo. Tell us about that initiative.
Yes, yes. We happen to be, our neighbors are really, they do all of the lean manufacturing training for all of the Dover companies, and so they're U.S. synthetic, and they're wonderful. They have many Shindo awards, and so does there's one other company also that makes airbags, and that's Autoleaf, also in Utah. And so we're very tied together, working together, sharing ideas with one another to improve our manufacturing techniques.
Now this Shingo is really originated from Japan. So they have all the tools.
Yes.
And then you come to the United States, I understand you have your principles and you got your motivation.
Yes.
So tell us how that worked out for your company. I mean, how did it get lean, and how did you strive for continuous improvement?
Well, the top trainer for all Dover companies happens to, and they're next to our building in Orem, Utah, and he, Randy Stumpf, was their top person, and he had a health issue and got very sick and almost died. And so he started using our blenders, which changed his life. He started with another company's blenders. It didn't work so good. He
got better nutrition with your blender.
Yeah, ours is the best blender. You get the best results from it. He started using it. It turned his life around. His health is perfect. He's very, very strong now, big muscles,
So
but he came to work. He left with the permission of U.S. Synthetic, who does all of the training. They let him come to work for us, and he's been with us for 5 years. Every day we get better. That's the whole plan. We go around and we train people. Their goal, everybody in every department can report on what they're doing that day, that week. And everything's improvement. It's all documented. It gets better and better. Quality gets better, deliveries get better, marketing gets better, all of the IT gets better, our communication, our social media, everything gets better with the lean Shindo.
Yes, it's more than just a lean management, really.
Right.
You know, Shingo Institute itself is
Yeah.
really the best of both worlds. What America
Yes.
produce
Yes.
and what the Japanese, with their ingenuity and their hard work and
Yep.
and innovation they do, and you're one of the model companies. So and we're just wanting to launch the Shingo here. It's new to
Yes.
Malaysia, Singapore, in this region, and we have Jabil, which is a company that is Shingo based.
Sure.
We have opportunity to give the staff from all other companies who get to walk through the factory.
Uh-huh.
They have the courses there because they're going to host the training for
Yes.
the companies. So they'll
Yes.
fly over to Penang. They're in the free
Yeah.
trade zone over there, and just spend 2 days in one of these courses. And for the rest of the year, they can have what you have enjoyed. That is
Right.
continuous improvement.
Yes.
Right? Not just a lean thing. There are a lot of tools out there, but the culture is not there.
Yes.
Shingo, I think, provides a culture of change,
Yes.
which I think has proven to be very effective all over the world.
You're exactly right. And when people walk into our factory, their jaw just drops. They cannot believe what they see. We have the very best Japanese machines, for example. They're all electric. So we have 14 Tsugami CNC machines that run 24/7. They can run lights out and make perfect parts. We have 14 Toyo injection molding machines that can run round the clock, automatic, with robots on them. We can do assembly of not only blender jars, but we can take copper from the second largest man-made hole on the earth, which is Kennecott Copper. Rio Tinto is the company. We can take copper right out of that mine in ingot form, draw it into wire, and wind our own motors, our own fields and armatures, put our own motors together, and we can do that. We can make a motor every 8 seconds, but not only that, we can make a finished blender with 15 robots every 8 seconds. We can make a finish a blender.
I think this strategy is not just a cost saving, but I can think of the quality of the final product.
Yes.
I think that gives America a very competitive edge.
Yes.
There's a lot of things with maybe low cost production. The feedbacks that come back is quality, right?
Yes.
So with what you're doing here, 8 seconds to
Yes.
get a motor.
Yes, and nothing can get out that's not perfect, because you're testing. It takes 16 seconds to test a blender. We test 2 at a time. We have cameras on the blender. We're looking at everything on the displays, and we're pushing every button. We're listening. We're feeling the vibration. We're listening to the sound on each of those blenders. So every 8 seconds, another blender starts up, and every 8 seconds a blender finishes.
From the sound, they can tell the quality. And,
The sound has to be within tolerance. The vibration has to be within tolerance.
Yeah.
Every light on the display, every button has to work perfectly. Everything's all ready to go, and it has to be. When you get to that point, very rarely do you have a failure, because all along, from when each part is manufactured, it has to be perfect to go down a fully automated line like we have.
People might want to learn or want to know from you. How can they become, more innovative? How can they get into that ability to create things, to change things, and maybe what advice would you give to someone out there with an interest in wanting to do something you do or be able to do it? What would your best advice be?
Keep your day job and see what you really love to do. Don't get off too early. Learn some skill, see what your real interests are, and then surround yourself with people that have experience that you don't have. Marketing people, IT people that and go after that thing. Have a real passion for what you
talk
want to
about
do.
passion. The advice to people keep their job, and meanwhile look what they're interested in. Something about how I started to become more into software, because I was a bean counter.
Yes, who would know?
Right? I was an accountant, and my father wanted us in Asia to be follow what our father tells us to do, and we do
Sure.
it. You see.
Yeah.
So I got qualified. But then you see, there's probably something that age of technology was coming in. I was interested in computers
Yes.
and software, and that has led on to social media. And I come to understand that you're famous in the internet, and there's something there that I can learn from you. So tell us about what happened in doing blenders, and you're finally into the internet, and you got involved with companies like Nike, or the Olympus cameras and
Sure.
all that. What is that got to do with blenders, and what is that got to do with social media and the internet?
Isn't that interesting how life is? I started in pharmaceuticals, end up on the internet with 500 million views. So how do you get there from here? And what happened is, by developing the most powerful blender in the world, I used to take 2x2s and I'd cram them down in the blender trying to break the blender. And I'd throw marbles and other things in the blender trying to break it. And I would, if it broke, I'd make it stronger and stronger so it wouldn't break. So I we're mainly an engineering company. We had 40 engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And so almost 10% of our company are engineers, and hardly any marketing people.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired a marketing person, George Wright, and he came along and he saw this pile of sawdust and a bunch of stuff on the floor, and he asked somebody, "What is that?" And they said, "Oh, that's just Tom trying to break blenders."
Mm-hmm.
And so he came to me and he said, "Tom, what's my budget?" And I said, "You don't have a budget. You're the budget. You're expensive." A marketing guy now,
Okay.
and an engineering company. And he said, "Well, how about $50? I said, "Okay, you can have $50. So he went out and bought some marbles, some rake handles, 6-pack of Coke, a rotisserie chicken, a bunch of things like that. And so he came back and we turned the camera on. He said, "Here, blend this stuff." So I blended it. And he came to me 5 days later and he said, "You won't believe it, we hit a home run. We have 6 million views on YouTube." And I said, "YouTube? I didn't even know what YouTube was." So anyhow, the next thing you know, YouTube's flying me to New York. I'm on a Jay Leno show in California. I'm back on the Plaza, the largest morning show, the Today Show, out on the Plaza in New York, and one thing led to another. On the History Channel, World's Strongest Blender, Modern Marvels, Discovery Channel, Time Warp, high-speed videos, watching me blend, for example, lighters and blowing up. So 1947, and it's Christmas, and there's this really cool little crane. I walked up to it, turned the crank, pulled a chain, worked it, and played with it and figured out exactly what it was all about. I ended up being an engineer. And I was soldering when I was 4 years old, and I learned how to weld when I was 6. I was 12 when I started working on a Bridgeport mill. For 45 years, my goal has been to build a blender that will not break. As is evidenced by the Will It Blend campaign, I try to destroy things. As I walk through a store or any place I go, I look at something and I say, I wonder if that will blend. Rubik's Cubes, Coke, rake handles, rotisserie chickens, golf balls. There's no way I'm going to blend a hockey puck. And my wife said, "I think you can do it." So I threw it in the blender, and sure enough, I blended it.
Oh, what a smell.
And then I blended an iPhone. My favorite, however, is glow sticks.
That is a 12-hour lantern.
I can improve just about any mechanical thing that I see. This is our brand new jar. This is the Wild Side Plus. Isn't this cool? This enhances blending performance.
I always had to have the fastest everything. And when I was 15 and a half years old, I found myself sneaking down the driveway with my 650 Triumph motorcycle and went to the Fremont drag strip. I just had to race my motorcycle because I knew I could beat anybody. And so I showed up there. They said, you have to be 18. I said, well, just call my dad. He'll give permission. And so they called, and my mother answered the phone. And I thought, oh no, this is the end. She had no idea. She thought I was home in bed, and she gave permission for me to race. And I raced, and I was sideways halfway up the drag strip, set a new record for Northern California. And I've never slowed down since. I am always on a mission to perfection. We want to have the best in the world so people can be healthy and happy.